Hey folks, welcome to Uncensored WP episode 4. This week we are going to take a look at our first service rather than a theme or a plugin. And the service we are looking at today is called SpinupWP. It is a cloud-based server management platform. Uh, so if you're familiar with others like GridPane, Server Pilot, or Run Cloud, then you kind of know what this is. This one is specifically designed for WordPress. It's getting a lot of really great press lately, and I want to see if it's as good as people say it is. So we're going to take a look at it. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to just quick run down through the features. So I'm not going to go through everything here. You can visit their website and go through things in more detail, but I'm just going to look at it here. So it offers staging sites. It is WordPress focused. Has a nice, robust caching option. Uh, Designed for developers. Has excellent customer support, solid security, backup to the cloud, and you can move sites with ease. And so it makes it really, really easy to migrate websites over. So uh, there's that. Pricing is really, really good on it. So you have your team plan, which is $39 a month, and that lets you do 3 servers. Uh, or $7 a month for additional servers, unlimited sites, priority email support, $100 in DigitalOcean credits if you're that only applies if you're a new DigitalOcean customer, unlimited team members, and site monitoring. On the personal side, you have $12 a month. You can only do 1 server, but additional servers are only $5 each. And then unlimited sites, standard email support, and $100 in DigitalOcean credits. Again, if you are a new DigitalOcean customer and if you're using DigitalOcean's platform, obviously. They do have a 7-day free trial, which is really good. Now, in my opinion, unless you feel like you need the team members or site monitoring, I frankly would stick with the personal plan. It's a little bit more cost effective. So, for example, $39 for 3 servers versus this would be $22 for 3 servers. So it's $12 plus 2 servers at $10 a month. You know, now keep in mind that doesn't include the cost of your server on DigitalOcean or whatever provider you're using. It just includes the cost of this particular service. With that said, like I said, I invite you to go over to their site and take another look. We're going to sign in and we are going to go ahead and get started.
Are you ready to take your website to the next level? Look no further than HostWizard.com, the ultimate web hosting solution for your online success. We've got all the features you need to supercharge your website and make it a blazing fast powerhouse. Say goodbye to worries about cyber attacks with our top-notch DDoS protection. Your website will be shielded from any malicious attempts, ensuring your visitors always have a safe and smooth browsing experience. Take your global reach to new heights with our global CDN. Your content will be served up lightning fast from servers around the world, making your site accessible to users near and far, without a hitch. Get ready to leave your competition in the dust with our web optimization suite. Your website will load faster than ever before, giving you a competitive edge. At HostWizard.com, our team of dedicated experts is right here in the USA, standing by 24/7 to assist you. No matter the time or the issue, we'll be there to guide you every step of the way. Say goodbye to price hikes and surprise fees with our unbeatable price lock guarantee. Enjoy the same affordable price you signed up for, no matter how long you stay with us. Join the thousands of satisfied customers who have already unlocked the full potential of their websites with HostWizard.com. Sign up today and experience the difference. Let's take your website to the stars, together.
Okay, so we are logged in. I have already connected my DigitalOcean account, so I don't need to do that. But let's go through this real quick. You're just going to click on spin up a new server. Now, if you didn't have a current account, then what you would want to do is connect your provider. DigitalOcean and Akamai, or formerly Linode, are fully integrated, so this process is pretty well automated if you choose either one of these two. Vultr, AWS, Google Cloud, and you can also use any other provider that you'd like. I do not know what the setup steps or process is for this. I would assume, based on experience, that it is a simple matter of entering in a key pair, like API keys and stuff like that. But since we have DigitalOcean already configured, we are just going to go ahead and click DigitalOcean. All right, what first thing you're going to do is you're going to choose your server size. We're just going to click this one just randomly. It doesn't really matter. We're going to be deleting it when I'm done. So New York 1, you serve, so choose your region, so your data center basically. And then whether or not to enable DigitalOcean backups. In this case, we're not going to, but I usually recommend that if you're doing a production server. So then you're going to choose a host name, and we're just going to go ahead and go with test2. And now you want to choose your time zone. Since I am in the Midwest, I am going to go with Chicago. Now, if you have any scripts that you want installed on your or want to run after the server itself is provisioned, you can enter those here. So this may be installing another piece of software or something like that. Either way, just put in your script there and it will run when the server gets provisioned. All right, click on next. Now, you also need to install MySQL, or you can use an external database. We're going to stick with the root, install MySQL 8.0, and it sets a root password, and then you're going to click Provision Server. Yes, I know it's typically not safe to leave passwords revealed publicly, but we're going to be deleting the server pretty much as soon as I'm done recording this video, so I'm not too concerned about that. Now, this whole process takes roughly 10 minutes to complete. Um, it may take a little less than that, may take a little more than that. I think it probably depends on the size of your server more than anything, but or what scripts you're installing as well. So I will pause and be back with you as soon as this has finished. Okay, so we now have our server set back up or set up. So we are now ready to go. It's going to give you some basic information here, tell you what the name of the server is, the IP address, provider, everything like that. And then you have the ability to turn notifications on and off. You can reboot your server. You can also restart services like Nginx, PHP, MySQL, disconnect the server, and delete the server. Now, when you delete the server, you can choose whether or not to delete it from your provider like DigitalOcean, or if you're just deleting it from SpinupWP. Maybe you just don't want to manage that particular server in SpinupWP anymore. All right, so now we're going to go over here to sites, and we need to add a new site. You can put as many sites as you want on a server, or as many as your server will hold, and be able to manage properly. But they do have a great article, which I did read, on how many sites should I have on a server. I think that article is really good and gives some really good insights on how you should load servers. So, all right, with that, we're going to click on New Site, and we're going to enter in our primary domain. We do not have any additional domains, but if you had other domains for like subdomains or multi-site setups or anything like that, you could enter those here and have them added as well. You can choose whether or not to enable SSL. It is enabled by default, and obviously we always suggest and recommend definitely having an SSL on any websites. If you do leave it enabled and set it to default, SpinupWP will issue a free Let's Encrypt certificate for you. And you can also choose to provide your own SSL if you have one. Click on Next, and then now you need to decide whether or not you're ready to update your DNS or not, and point the domain to the server. If you're not, you can click the second option here, and it'll help you create a text record so that you can still work on your new sites while you're waiting. So, or until then. Now, we're going to go ahead and stick with the default, of course. All right. Now we're going to go to domains, and you see our IP address there. So we need to create an A record. I've already done this in DigitalOcean, so it should be good for me. So I'm going to go ahead and click I've updated the DNS. And this takes just a moment to check. It's not a long time, but it just basically wants to make sure that you have successfully created that A record. Okay, so it looks like the DNS verification failed. Now, this is not an issue with the SpinupWP platform. Rather, it is a propagation issue. We created our DNS records and they have not fully propagated to this new IP address yet. So you kind of have to wait for that to finish. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pause in the recording and I will come back once I have gotten that to verify properly. And so then we'll finish this up. All right, folks. So propagation finally completed, and we have verified our DNS. Now we're going to click next. All right, now you get to decide how you want to set up your install or your WordPress install. So you can install a default WordPress. You can clone from a Git repository, or you can go ahead and avoid installing any files at all. So this is like if you want to manually set up your sites, and later on you can do that as well. But we are going to go with the default WordPress, of course. We're not going to use multi-site, but show you how this works. So when you click the multi-site option, you have to choose between subdirectory or subdomain options. And then you'll put in your site information just like you normally would. So we're going to go ahead and do that here. We're going to go Common Brain and admin username. All right. And then we don't want to undo any all right. Now, if you again, just like with when you're setting up the server, you can do custom scripts upon provisioning. So once WordPress is installed, you can deploy scripts like installing a theme or plugin that you want or whatever. We're going to leave that blank for now, but go ahead and click next. All right, now you're going to set up your database. We're going to go ahead and stick with everything as default and click next, but you can change any of that you want to, of course. You're going to set up your PHP user. So each series has its own system user, has ownership permissions of all the files, okay? You can choose your PHP version between 7.4, 8.0, 8.1, and 8.2 are what's currently available, and enable full page caching. Next. Now we're going to confirm our information, make sure everything looks correct. Then we click Add Site, and this will begin the install process. The last time I installed one of these, it took just a little over a minute, I think. So it's not super slow or anything. But yeah, so we'll let this finish and we will come back as soon as it's done and we'll finish this up. Okay, so we have a working site and go to view site. There you go. All right. We don't need to log into the site and show you everything because that's just a default WordPress site. So we're going to show you what's going on right here. So this is your dashboard for the website. Gives you some basic information. You have links to the site as well as the admin. Again, you can turn off the notifications. You can clone the site. So for staging, it's really super easy to do. You can purge your page or object caches, correct file permissions, or even delete the website altogether. All right. And then when you go down here, you have these little blocks that show you various information about your site. So it shows you SSL info, your caching, all of that stuff. All right. Now, what we can do, let's say we want to edit this a little bit. Now, see, this is an error that I had pop up before too, and I'm not really sure what causes this. This is definitely a downside, a definitely a bug, I would say, within the SpinupWP platform. So what you can do when that happens, though, is you can just turn off your page cache. It'll take a minute to turn off fully and completely disable, and then once that's done, you turn it back on, and that corrects the problem. So you see it's turned off now. We're going to go ahead and start it. And then the problem will be fixed and we'll be able to move on and use the page cache thing. But, that is definitely a downside. That is definitely a bug that the SpinUp WP team should look at, because that is obviously not a good thing. Most people would not, a lot of people would not necessarily think to just try resetting the page cache like that, but uh, which poses a problem, obviously. So next, we're going to go to the HTTPS. Again, we have our SpinUp WP issued certificate. We can renew at any time. However, it does auto renew every 45 days. So you don't have to manually come in and renew the uh, the Let's Encrypt certificate if that's what you're using. If you are using your own certificate, you'll have to handle that based on the certificate itself. Nginx, add rewrite rules for WordPress, multi-site directory. That's obviously, since we didn't set up a multi-site, that's going to be disabled by default. The other two are enabled by default, and I strongly recommend keeping them enabled for the security of your website. If you have a plugin or theme that requires you to disable one or both of these, in my personal opinion, I would look for a different plugin or theme to do what you want it to do, because they can be pretty severe security risks having these things disabled. But you do have the option to disable them if you want to. Path redirects. So this allows you to redirect any path to another one. So basically, in other words, a quick 301 redirect. You can set up your SFTP and SSH. Obviously, we recommend using a public key. That is the most secure way to do it. But you can also do the password option and do it that way. So, and again, they give awesome articles no matter where you're at on here. They give nice little hints for you to be able to figure out what you need to do if you're confused about something. So that's cool. Git. So if you are using Git, you can connect it to this. We are not. And then backups. So SpinupWP does not provide their own backup services, but you can add a storage provider, and they have several to choose from. You can use S3, Backblaze, DigitalOcean, Google Cloud, Linode, or Wasabi. Um, Obviously, we would use DigitalOcean if we were going to set this up, because that's who our provider is, and that makes sense just to have it on the same provider. And finally, you have the logs tab. This tab allows you to view all of the logs, debug logs, error logs, access logs, which we already have some errors in there, which is a little strange for me, but and a little worrisome, not the access log, but the error log. The fact that there is already an error in there is a little worrisome, but it may just be part of the setup of this site that caused that. So I wouldn't worry too much about that unless those continue to accumulate. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and click go back to server. And again, it shows all of our server events. And again, we just right back there, you can get to your databases. You can add databases if you need to, and database users. Here's your information for connecting to your database, and PHP my admin. You can manually install it. It does not come installed here, and SpinupWP does not recommend it. They actually recommend using your SSH through command line And honestly agree with that recommendation for a security standpoint. However, for an ease of use standpoint, I do personally like to use PHPMyAdmin, but it is completely up to you if you want to do that or not. You can also create pseudo users for your server. Now, this is not something I recommend doing unless you absolutely need it. The pseudo users or root access, uh, they have full access to the server and can pretty much destroy your server with the stroke of a key uh, if you're not careful. So I don't recommend using this feature unless you find it absolutely necessary for some reason. All right, so there it is. That is SpinupWP. My final thoughts, it's a really great platform. It's very easy to use, very user friendly. It does what you want it to do, and it does it very well. Uh, but the one big downside I saw was a full page caching mechanism. Um, when you first start up when you first get your site live and you go in there, it shows that the page caching is not active because it says you're using a custom Nginx config. So I'm not really sure what causes that or how to avoid that. That's something that we should probably get in touch with the SpinupWP support team about and report it as a bug if they're not already aware of it. I'm guessing they probably are, but I will definitely report that as a bug and hopefully they'll get that fixed. But other than that, I would strongly recommend using this service. I have used others like RunCloud and ServerPilot and GridPane. I do like GridPane a lot. It's a very very good platform to use, but Run Cloud I've always found to be very difficult to use from a user standpoint. I don't really like Run Cloud. Server Pilot I've only used once, so I don't have a whole lot of experience with it. I can't really make a judgment on that one. So my point is that when comparing SpinUp WP with the other providers that are out there, I think SpinUp WP is one of the better ones for sure. With its speed, its ease of use. Okay, so there is one more thing that I did want to show you, um, because actually, you want to look at what the performance is going to be like, and keep in mind, yes, I know it's a default WordPress setup, which means it should be doing pretty good regardless. But I'll be honest, like I said, I've tried the other management platforms in the past, and most of them do really really well with load times on a default site being well under 1 second. And usually under 500 or 600 milliseconds. But that being said, I'd like to show you this here result uh, that I've got from the SpinUp WP site. Look how great that is, and that is really really awesome. That is very very fast. So even for a default WordPress website, that is really good performance. So that bodes well for once you get your site fleshed out and built the way you want it with all its bells and whistles and stuff. If you're getting this good of speeds with with a default site, I think you're doing pretty good. You've got a pretty good chance that as long as you design your site properly, you're going to get pretty good load times on it. So the performance seem of SpinUp WP seems to be very, very good, um, on par with most of the other providers, or in some cases a little bit better. So that is the end of it, and thank you again for tuning in to Uncensored WP, and we will see you next week with another exciting episode. And please, please like and subscribe. And remember, if you visit hostwizard.com, and for a limited time, you purchase a 3-year plan of any of our hosting plans. It doesn't matter which plan you choose, whether it be one of our WordPress plans or one of our shared plans or even one of our VPS plans. If you choose any plan and get a 3-year term, then you can choose between a free website, which would be our basic website design package, which is value about $199, and uh, or you can choose a 4th year of hosting for free. And so definitely make sure you check that out at hostwizard.com, and have a great week, and we will see you next week.